over the years, I've given a lot of investment advice about personal money and savings and all that great stuff. And I started saving a lot of money when I was about 24 years old. And now I'm old, so it compounds. So I was talking to someone about owning a business, this business he was thinking of buying. And I said, but it makes about 10%. He says, yeah, it's great. I said, no, it's not great. And he says, why do you say that? I said, you could do nothing if you know how to just invest in some basic stock market stuff. You're going to average about 10% for doing no work. So, and I know for me, sometime before I knew this, I would invest in maybe a company or a business. And I'm like, hey, it makes 10% rate of return. And that's great. And what I've learned is if you're going to own a business, you should be looking at like 30% rate of return, not 10%, because I can be in my pajamas and make 10%. So it's a difficult concept for a lot of business people to understand because we get so emotionally invested in whatever the business is. And the problem with that is it can lead to decisions where you can make the same amount of money for doing nothing as putting a lot of effort and time into a business that doesn't make that much money as far as percentage. So it's a difficult conversation because, if a business does $1 billion a year and makes 10%, that's millions and millions of dollars. You can't take this and just say, it doesn't make 30%, I'm out. But I've learned to chart all these things. And there's about 13 things that I look for in a business that I'm going to invest in or I'm going to purchase. And one of them says it's got to make 30%. Well, that gets rid of about 97% of businesses. So there's high profit businesses, there's low profit businesses. But from an investment standpoint, just be careful of getting too emotionally invested because that's when I've made mistakes. And I guarantee you, I've made more mistakes than about 99.9% of you. And they're very expensive. So just a tip, something to think about when it comes to investing.